The Minnesota Vikings have spent heavily. More than $265 million has been invested in free agency, and yet some are already projecting a drop in production for 2025. The defense that was one of the best against the run last year is still seeking solidity in the middle of the line, and the offense, led by a quarterback with no professional experience, carries the weight of expectations from a fan base accustomed to frustrations. Two names emerge in this scenario: a rookie with 0 games in the NFL and a college prospect who could be the future of the defense. But the question that fans need to answer now is this: is the Minnesota Vikings really ready to take the next step? Before diving into this debate, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications. Here, the analysis is straightforward and to the point. Let's go. The name Tim Keenan III started circulating strongly behind the scenes of the NFL even before the college season of 2025 began. Standing at 6'2" inches and weighing 325 pounds, the Alabama nose tackle is the type of player that fills exactly what the Minnesota Vikings are missing today: a physical monster in the center of the defensive line. According to ESPN journalist Matt Miller, the Vikings are among the top teams interested in Keenan, who appears to be a plausible first-round pick in the 2026 draft. And what detail drew the most attention? In Miller's projection, the Vikings are selecting at the 18th position, a significant drop from the 24th pick in 2024. This alone raises a yellow flag. Analysts are already seeing the team taking a step back in performance despite all the recent investment. Movement on the defensive line, by the way, was one of the priorities of the offseason. Just with Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, the team spent $81 million. But there's a catch. Both are over 30 and come from seasons marked by injuries. They are still productive players, but they no longer offer the same durability as in previous years, and that's where Tim Keenan comes in as a strategic option. He is not an immediate replacement, he is long-term insurance, a player with a completely different physical profile from what is currently on the roster. Keenan already has 3 seasons at Alabama with 79 tackles, 11 for loss, and 3.5 sacks. But his real contribution goes beyond the numbers. He is a locker room leader, a disciplined player, and a nightmare for any offensive line in running plays. If he were to be chosen today, he would be the heaviest player on the Vikings defense, surpassing names like Harrison Phillips, who re-signed for 2 years at the end of 2024, but is also far from being a technical pillar. Keenan's presence would allow Kevin O'Connell's defense to maintain its 3-4 structure consistently, especially in early down situations. And unlike other young players the team has drafted recently, like Levi Drake Rodriguez or Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, Keenan brings a physical profile much more suited to the classic nose tackle role. Rodriguez, for example, weighs just over 300 pounds and was a 7th round pick in 2024. Ingram Dawkins, selected in the 5th round in 2025, is more productive as a defensive end in 3-man line schemes. Keenan, in turn, offers immediate physical presence and still has room for development as a pass rusher, particularly with his hand strength and gap control. The big question, however, is not whether Keenan would be useful, but whether he will be necessary, and this will directly depend on the next piece of this analysis: JJ McCarthy. Because if the quarterback can't get the job done in 2025, the Minnesota Vikings may have many more holes to fill than just in the middle of the defensive line. Quarterback JJ McCarthy, selected in the 1st round of the 2024 draft, has yet to play a single game in the NFL. The expectation was that the young former Michigan star would take over as the starter in 2024, but a meniscus tear during the preseason against the Raiders derailed any immediate plans. Now, in 2025, the Vikings management is placing all its trust in him to lead a revamped team. And let's face it, that's a high-risk bet. With Sam Darnold leaving for the Seattle Seahawks and the team's refusal to keep Daniel Jones, who ended up with the Colts, the path is clear for McCarthy. The question is he ready? Kevin O'Connell, the team's head coach, believes so, but not everyone shares this optimism. McCarthy was a prospect praised for his demeanor and accuracy in controlled situations, but there were real concerns about his post-snap reading, improvisation skills, and pocket control under pressure. Fundamental points in modern NFL. Worse, he arrives to lead an offense that has already lost supporting pieces and still depends on the development of players in key positions. The situation is further complicated by the fact that the team is coming off a 14-win season and a promising campaign, but also faces a much tougher schedule in 2025. Additionally, the defensive investment made in free agency puts even more pressure on McCarthy. The team needs to compete now, not in 2 or 3 years. If McCarthy fails, the impact will be devastating, not just on the scoreboard, but on the franchise's medium-term planning. And that's why many analysts are already projecting that the team might end up trading down in the draft. The 18th pick indicated by Matt Miller represents an average performing team. In other words, not good enough to truly compete, but not bad enough to restart with full force. In this context, the choice of a player like Tim Keenan can be seen as a stopgap measure, a way to ensure defensive consistency even if the offense doesn't deliver as expected. Keenan may not be a game changer like a quarterback, but he is a player that helps keep the team competitive. And that matters a lot in a league where small margins make a difference. It's worth noting, the Vikings project is clear. The defensive foundation is experienced and strong. The offensive line was bolstered with Donovan Jackson in the first round of 2025. And the offensive line has promising young talent. The problem lies, once again, under center. If JJ McCarthy confirms his potential, the team will have flexibility in the 2026 drafts to strengthen wherever they want. If not, the focus shifts completely, and then neither Keenan nor anyone on the defense will be able to mask that structural flaw. The Minnesota Vikings are betting everything on a risky project. On one hand, they are spending heavily on elite veterans on defense and preparing to secure the future of the line with a name like Tim Keenan III. On the other, they are handing the keys to the offense to a quarterback who has yet to take a snap in the NFL. In my opinion, the move only makes sense if McCarthy works out. Without a functional quarterback, no defensive reinforcement will take this team far. The Vikings' plan has interesting pieces, but it lacks balance. And if the 2026 draft indeed brings Tim Keenan as the first pick, it could be both good news and a sign that something went very wrong before that. And now I want to know from you, Vikings fan, do you think the team is right to bet everything on McCarthy and seek defensive depth with Keenan? Or are you already worried about a new rebuilding cycle? Comment down below, leave your like, and subscribe to the channel to keep receiving this kind of direct, honest analysis focused on your team.